Hello, hello. How are you all doing? Yeah, tonight is a debate between myself and FTFE on gravity. This is obviously the pre-show, guys. The debate will start in about 21 minutes. Looking forward to it. So, in Ellemnet, we do have Michael Kahn, Neil Constantino, PJ Cruikshank, and Paul. How are you guys all doing?
All good.
Yeah, fine, thank you.
That's good, that's good. I'm glad you guys are doing well.
Excellent.
So yeah, I put a poll up. Gravity needs carrots to be real.
Yeah, I put yeah for that one. Absolutely.
And yes, 67%, no 33%. I thought it would just be funny.
Carrots have got to be involved somewhere other than gravity. Got to be.
Definitely. I mean,
do carrots fall when you drop them?
Yeah, they got mass, remember? Mass attracts mass.
Not gravity.
No, that's gravity.
Oh, right. It's all right. I see. Getting confused here, man. What the heck's going on?
PJ, listen, if I let those carrots go in the water, they will float.
Yeah, they absolutely will. I agree. You guys have convinced me. Back to being a flat earther.
But that's just space-time bending with a medium, you know, so it has to bend upwards. Okay, so
why not carrots? I mean, unicorn farts, so why not carrots?
Yeah, why not?
It makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah.
But I'd say carrots because of gravity. What's up,
yeah,
Doc?
Of course. Of course.
Yeah, it's Flatzoid doing Bugs Bunny, but it's actually Elmer Fudd.
Rascally Rabbit.
Rabbit.
Well, man, there's so much symbology in them old cartoons as well. If you check them out, mad.
Yeah, exactly. Hey Matt, good to see you, mate. Thank you for coming.
Greetings.
And salutations. So yeah, we got Moxie in, PJ Cruikshank, Paul, Rachie, Eleanor Strand, good to see you, mate. Audio Oracle, hello. FE Nation, glad you could make it. XP Black Ice, Natalie Vegan's Dog, Felix XC, good to see you, mate. And Gary Wybenga, I'm glad you guys all make it. Yeah, this is the pre-show for the debate between myself and Fight the Flat Earth. So yeah, it was just chatting about what we would expect. Do you guys think we'd expect from his arguments he would bring up for gravity?
It's got to be the same as usual. I mean, it depends what gravity they're talking about, doesn't it? But, none of it's real. So he's got to bring up absolutely everything fallacious.
That's true. I'm probably going to bring up with him because he's probably going to say gravity is scientifically validated. I'm going to ask him, okay, bring the science for gravity. And I can guarantee you it's going to be, the distance and mass attracts mass, which is not gravity then.
That's it, exactly.
They try to use both of them together. You can't do it.
Yeah, that's it. You're right, Audio Oracle. How you doing?
Hey Liefie, dankie dat je gekomen het. Goed om je te zien. Bye Liefie. And Derek Nelson, good to see you too, mate. Thank you for coming. Yeah, and Titan, hello. Tomorrow night we're not streaming, obviously, because it's Tuesday and because it's my wife's birthday. So looking forward to that.
You drinking from an invisible cup?
Didn't you? This is my space-time cup, guys.
Oh, that's amazing.
Look what it does. Whoa.
That's crazy stuff, man. What kind of physics is that?
See, I told you don't need containment to hold liquid. You just use gravity.
That's some mental physics you got there, dude.
Yeah, I'm holding gravity. I've become the gravity bender.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a green glass, guys.
You said your wife's birthday's tomorrow?
Yeah.
My wife's birthday's the 19th, and then I'm the 23rd.
Oh, you guys are very close.
But 15 years apart.
Wow. Yeah, you guys are Are you and your wife 15 years apart?
Yeah.
That's hectic.
I started dating her a couple of weeks before she turned 18.
Wow. That's see.
But I'm not Muhammad.
No, I think 18 is a huge difference from 6 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. If Nation, your cup blends in with the background. Yep, because it's a green skin cup. It's green, guys. It's good to have you all here. And we got also, what's his name? Excessive My MC. Good to see you. He says, hi everyone. I have a question, Flatzoid. Are you basing your claim of objects falling at the same in a vacuum chamber on a video you've seen demonstrating it because Professor Brian Cox demonstrated it? No, that's the globe claim. Yeah. And yes, I've seen that video, and that's got nothing to do with reality, mate. The only thing that's got to do with reality is the demonstration that if you remove the medium, there's no friction of air. Ah, Audio Oracle says he's the 22nd of May. Wow, that's cool. Hey, I will not get the jab. Good to see you too.
Yeah, it was my grandma's birthday on the 21st of May.
Ah, so
Am I muted?
no, you're not.
No, you're not. You're not, mate. We had you.
Where are you? And there's a lot of May babies. Let's put it that way. As we say here in South Africa, ach May.
Ach, May.
Ach, May.
Ach, the month of May.
Hey, watch your mouth, you guys.
Have you guys watched my latest video on the Black Swan with Trigger Limey?
Yeah,
Yes.
quality.
Yeah. Fantastic.
I haven't seen that one, but I am very impressed with that other video.
Yeah.
Flatter's Reality, is that it?
Oh yeah, he did awesome job. Face Reality did a brilliant job on his video,
That's
guys.
how you say it? Face Reality?
Yeah, he did an
Okay.
awesome job. Yeah, the one where he used QE as his co-host.
Outstanding.
Very good work. Yeah. No, definitely. If you guys haven't watched that already, do go to Face Reality's channel, subscribe to the guy, and watch it. It's really well with it. It's epic.
Have you not seen his Flat Earth Bible one, Neil?
Negative.
You need to watch that one. That one's brilliant.
Yeah, I even did a stream on it. I called it the sermon.
Yeah, the sermon.
Yeah. Right.
Actually, very good. Hi, Alwyn. Good to see you, mate. So soon we should be starting the debate. So he sent me the Zoom link already. Excuse me. I know, it's just cool drink, guys.
Are you? I mean, obviously, I'm gonna go on mute when he comes. But are you having the debate on in Ellemnet as well, or you just got to
Zoom.
leave it on? The,
I'm
just
gonna,
oh right, all right, got you.
I'm gonna put it in Zoom, but I'll share it in Ellemnet for you guys if you guys want to stay on here and watch it. Yeah. Or
Okay. Cool.
Whatever
As
you
soon as it
choose.
comes, I'll mute myself. Yeah. Nice one.
Let me see.
It's better in Ellemnet. I get it in real time. Well, probably a 3-second delay rather than the 20-second delay from YouTube.
Yeah, Element's nice and let's see. Join with computer audio. Okay. Hello.
Yeah, right.
Howdy, how you doing?
Good and yourself, mister. Hello.
Not bad, mate, not bad. Yeah, I've been having a good day, actually.
That's good.
Enjoying the one day of sunshine we tend to get in Scotland every year.
And I just wish we had more rain.
Well, I'll send you some of mine, honestly.
Yeah, it's been raining the last 2-3 days, so that's quite cool.
Well, where we live, we can literally have all 4 seasons in the space of 24 hours.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, it was like that when I lived up in Fraserburgh, where I'm from.
Yeah, I'm just setting things up.
Windy as hell. Right, I'll go and mute Flats. I'll let you get to it.
Okay, shot. See you soon. FT
Bless,
Flat.
man.
In about 10 minutes, right?
Shut. No stress, PJ. I just.
Oh, right. I thought you were starting right now. Right, got you.
It's starting at 10:30.
All right, cool.
So what are your predictions?
He's right about the weather though. It is like 4 seasons in one day up there. Where I'm from as well.
Yeah.
It's same everywhere in England. It's not just Scotland.
Well, yeah, of course.
We've just had hailstones.
I know that's mental. That's a bit mental because there's none in Cove. The sun's been out, but it's been a bit nippy.
So what's your guys' predictions for the show today?
He says he's had a good day, so he might not get triggered, but I very much think he might do.
Well, that's guaranteed to happen. But it's got to be a lot of back and forth about what gravity is and what gravity isn't. You know what I mean? And we know it's not a force, but it acts as a force. I mean, that's got to come into play, isn't it?
And time and distance is independent variable, something like that.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're probably going to go through that like the same old. I don't know what new he's going to have, but he specifically wanted to talk about gravity. So I think he's going to want to somehow push relative density disequilibrium as well to try and explain it.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe he'll bring up some metric tensors for us.
You can't even bring up the refracted hand, can you? Nothing to do with gravity.
Still waiting for that.
If relative density that last word
disequilibrium.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. But yeah, if that is not gravity, then why bring it up at all?
I don't understand.
If the debate is about gravity, correct?
But you see, he's probably going to say, okay, you see, because you flat Earth and we require gravity. So what's your gravity? In other words, like remember they're under the apprehension that because they require gravity, everybody needs gravity. Just to say, Larry Silverstein's insurance policy. Welcome to King Rooster. Thank you for becoming a member. Really, really appreciate it, mate. It's good to see you. I really appreciate all the support.
But wouldn't you see it as a reversal of the burden of proof by making it seem like you've got to prove something with RDD?
Yeah, it is. It is actually a reversal proof fallacy. But remember, like I said, if you take it with fundamentals of the globe, they require something to hold them to the ground. Otherwise, they're going to fly off into space. So they're under the apprehension of we require something to hold us down. So on your Earth that's flat, why do you not have gravity? Because obviously you're saying it's fake. Then he's going to probably come and say, okay, well, how does relative density disequilibrium work on flat Earth? Which is fine. I'll explain it like I usually do.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure, Larry. It's always good to see everybody's support. Thank you very much for your support. Hey, Skeptic936, thank you for coming, mate. Glad you could make it. It's going to be an exciting one tonight.
Skept is in the house? What's up, Skept?
Yeah, it's always good to see Skept. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that even if you describe RDD inadequately in their eyes, it would still do nothing to prove or disprove the foolishness of gravity. So I guess that's the main point.
Yeah. But it's fine. Because I think actually what he wanted to talk was gravity and the flat Earth, you understand? So I think it's part of the topic. So I don't mind trying to explain to him gravity has got nothing to do with flat Earth. It's as simple as that. Science works in mysterious ways. Good to see you too, mate. Thank you for coming. So yeah, because one thing I think you guys all realize this. The Globers love to place their ball belief physics onto flat Earth. So it's like if they have gravity, they expect you to have gravity. If they have curve, they expect you to have physical blocking curve. You understand? It's insane. They don't understand how to keep their beliefs separate from reality.
Yeah, that's it.
Gravity is the cause and the effect. Actually,
Yeah.
they think gravity is the name given for something that might be given to another thing that causes something that's caused by something else.
That sounds a bit like Chinese whispers. Do you know what gravity is? No, do you know what gravity is?
A wise man once told me, gravity is not the mass, it is the distance between the mass and the distance of the spendy space-time, because the mass is distance from the mass. That
Yeah,
is what we
makes
call
sense.
gravity.
Makes sense, dude.
Yeah. Okay. Cool, 5 minutes still. It's good. I'm just happy the power's on again. It sucks.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night it's going to be the same thing. Power off again. 5 till 9. It sucks when the times are 5 till 9 when people got to make supper.
Isn't it? I mean, that's a ridiculous time to put it off. I mean, it shouldn't be bloody put off in the first place, but that's a ridiculous time. If you've got to have like schedules and that for it being on and off, then that's a stupid time.
But it's fine. Like I was telling Michael earlier before the show started, they're talking about giving us now sometime next month or this month, end of the month or something, a 36-hour off time. So almost two days straight off. And the problem where I am in the bush, if the power's off, we don't have water.
Yeah, that's it.
So that sucks.
I mean, you're all right for food. All you need to do is crack an egg in your hand, go out the back door, and hold it out to the sun. You'll be fine. That'll fry up, no problem. But water, that's a different problem. You know what I mean?
I got a JoJo
Get
tank.
digging a well.
Get digging a well.
I got a JoJo tank at least, but it doesn't help having the JoJo tank if the pump's not working though, and you need power for the pump to work as well. But yeah, I can just skip it out with the buckets. But it's nice to have hot water when you want to bath though.
Well, of course.
I mean, you guys have seen me create a fire in the background and sticking a pot of water to cook the water for bath.
Yeah. It seems fun, but I'm sure you must get sick of it.
It's like being in dark ages or something.
Yeah. I mean, I like cooking stuff up and doing stuff on campfires and all that, but I mean, that's when you choose to do it, you know? It's like, it's different if you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is actually against human rights, Rachie, but South Africa doesn't give a shit.
No.
You just pay for the water even though you don't get the services you pay for. That's the one thing about South Africa. They just don't care. Even if I mean, everybody pays their levies, they pay their taxes, you pay for the services and you don't get it. And if you moan about it, they just ignore you. They just say it's your problem. There was half of the town here, they been sat for like a month without water, where we've got a T-piece that separates where the water comes through. And they actually had the government here turning the T-piece away from that side of the town. And they put armed guards there to make sure no one turns it back. That's how it is here.
Wow.
So they have to go buy water daily from the shops just so they have water to use, which they pay anyway, water and lights.
Madness.
It's just spitefulness. That's all it is.
It is.
No country actually cares, Richard, exactly. As long as they just make their money, they're happy.
Yeah, that's it.
But what can we do?
Not much.
Slip radar, yeah, gonna be DayZ in SA soon. I agree. By the way, DayZ is an awesome game. Armor. I would actually like to play some DayZ on here.
What the hell's DayZ?
It's a game, a computer game. It's like
survival. Computer game, right?
Survival.
Got you. Is it like a PC game?
Almost like Battleground, Battle Royale, where you get chucked on a map and then you have to survive as long as possible. But Daisy, what was awesome about that was you have to go and hunt for your food, and you got zombies and stuff also coming, and you have to compete, get yourself prepped up well, because you got other people also competing to stay alive, so they kill you for your merchandise and stuff. So it's like real apocalyptic kind of cool. It's very awesome. He says he's playing it right now.
Good.
Slip, we should actually play together sometime, mate. I remember the last time I played some Daisy, we actually got a bus, and we started picking up everybody, and like 20 people on the bus there, and driving around the island, just getting people to their destinations, which was kind of funny.
Spud says come to the UK, Flats. He is coming to the UK.
my brother's...
your brother. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, he's moving to Dublin, so definitely going to go visit. It's going to be good to see you guys then as well. We'll definitely come say hello.
Be brilliant.
Okay. Still waiting for Mr. Craig. Okay, I see he's already starting. Okay, so guys, I'm going to see you guys maybe after show. It depends how late it ends, but...
Have fun. You won't see me because it'll be past my bedtime.
That's it. It's it.
Yeah.
Early night again.
Michael's mom, make sure you put a nice blanket over him and kiss his forehead night for me.
I will. He's already at the bell.
Yeah.
And make sure he gets up early to finish the garden before he goes home.
Ivy McFly. Yeah, we can make it there on Discord server for that. That can be great. Have some
mute
playing server. Okay, so chat to you guys later.
Have fun.
Gonna try.
Bless, man.
Gonna try. Cheers, guys. I'm so happy he's muted. And he's still muted. Yeah, Daisy's what we call the Walking Dead experience. Exactly. This is going to be interesting.
He does this every week, doesn't he? He does it every time. He mutes himself and doesn't realise.
But I'm happy he muted, because then I don't get copyright strikes on his music in its intro.
True.
But yeah, guys, thanks for all the support. Please do share the show and hit that like button. It does help the show. I just want to make sure you guys are showing. Yes, you guys are. Okay. He looks very energetic tonight, so that's cool. Hey, you still muted, Fight.
There we go. Too many buttons. How you doing, mate?
Hi, good and yourself. Glad you could
Not
invite me.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of things that have kind of been brushed on in the few conversations we've had recently regarding gravity. So I wanted to specifically talk about gravity today. And I did find it quite interesting when I suggested that to you. Your response was, "Well, there is no gravity on the flat Earth." There we go.
Yeah, it's simple. Now we can go home, guys.
Yeah, there we go, guys. Stream's done. There is no gravity. End of discussion. Before we get into it, how you doing? Everything all right over there in South Africa?
Yeah, doing as good as we can. Power's off more than on, but what can we say?
I honestly, with my teenage son, I don't know how I would deal with that. Like, I'll have to talk to him and stuff.
Well, he would enjoy that.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Now, I do not want to strawman you. That's the most important thing here. I don't want that to be part of the conversation, that I'm strawmanning your position. I know that you don't think that gravity it exists at all, and that it doesn't, flat Earth doesn't need it. So could you just kind of give me your overarching view of your opinion on gravity and how it's dealt with in the flat Earth?
I don't understand. On the flat Earth, how it's dealt with on the flat Earth.
What is your replacement for it? You know, the things that we say as Globers that gravity does. What is the I know, because there's a lot of different disagreement in the flat Earth, especially between you and Witsit. And by the way, that was a great stream.
Well, I must say he did come on the next time and actually apologize, and we had a nice conversation. So I was happy about that, although I still don't agree with him on his deduction about electrostatics. But yeah.
So, like Whitsit, we do say that there is kind of a downward bias and everything, but obviously that isn't your view. So, like I said, I don't want to strawman you in any way. So, could you just explain to me, in your own words, why things accelerate the way they do? What is your replacement for what we call gravity?
Okay, I just got to clarify. There's no replacement because gravity doesn't exist. Secondly, what we observe based on flat Earth is what I think is relative density disequilibrium. So there's no downward bias or anything. It's simply just got to do with the object's ratio to the medium. That's about it. So if the object's density ratio is greater than the medium's, it's going to seek equilibrium, which would be at the foundational point, which is obviously where it's got to support something, which would be down. And if it's less, then the medium is able to support it, which would mean it will go up.
Okay, so again, I don't want a straw man, and I know that when my side says to you, and the way that you guys think in particular, that density isn't a force, you're not saying density in particular. Your claim is this density, relative density disequilibrium, right?
Yeah, you see, a lot of time we get strawmans, like you say, is you guys push specific gravity onto us. That's your relative density with buoyancy.
I mean, it's very similar in the explanations that are given, but again, I don't want to strawman you because I know that's not exactly your point.
Because according to the globe, relative density, which is specific gravity, it's only scalar.
Yeah, that is the way that we would describe it, as a way to give a vector an amount, if you will. And okay, so I don't want to go on to the globe yet. I'm just trying to steelman your position so that I know exactly what I'm arguing against. Because after watching that stream of you and Whitsit, so much of that was the pair of you saying to each other, "That's a straw man, that's a straw man, that's a straw man." So I don't want that to be part of this discussion. So I really do want to try and steelman your position here. So you call it relative density disequilibrium, but the controlling factor in everything you say is the density of an object, right? So essentially, if the density of something is more than the medium it's in, it's going to go down.
The ratio. So the density of an object.
What do you mean by the ratio?
If you can add, it's like this cup. It's got a density, correct? Now it's in a system on my hand on a scale, for instance. Now, if I had to add another cup next to it, I got 2 cups of the same density. The density hasn't changed, but you've added more substance in the system. So therefore, the ratio has changed. Get it? So it's causing more pressure on the medium. So therefore, the pressure ratio towards the medium is denser. It's greater.
Right. So, so what you just described there, you would be increasing the mass of something, but not the density.
No, you're not increasing the mass. The mass is the same. Remember, density stays the same.
What you said there was, you said if you've got 2 cups, both of the cups are the same density, but you're doubling the mass by adding another cup, but the density stays the same.
I'm not doubling the mass.
Well, if you have 2 cups, that's double the mass to 1 cup, right?
No, remember, what is mass?
Well, mass is the amount of matter in something that is in SI units measured in grams.
Yeah, so 1 cup has amount of mass, which gives its density.
Yeah.
And then you got another cup with the same. Now, just because I'm putting 2 cups next to each other,
have the same density, right?
Yeah, now because I put 2 cups of the same density, I haven't increased the mass, I haven't increased the density. I've simply created a greater ratio, pressure to ratio, according to on the system.
Okay, I just want to clarify though, but if you double the cups, you are doubling the mass. That is what you're doing. 1 cup is X amount of mass. 2 cups is 2X amount of mass.
On your glass model, yeah.
No, just in if you've got two amounts of something, that's twice the amount. So we both agree that the cup has a density, but that cup also has a mass, right?
Yeah, but that's what I say. You have to define what mass is, though.
Well, mass is the amount of matter in something that is measured in SI units of grams.
So exactly.
So let's say
if you got one cup, that's a say.
The cup. Yeah. Okay. So one cup measures, say, 25 grams, right? And has a density of whatever it has. So another cup that has the same density as that first cup, together, that's now 50 grams of cup. Not just 25.
Yeah, but you're trying to false equivocate mass to give weight, which is not correct.
No, I'm not talking about weight at this point. I'm literally just talking about the amount of stuff in something, right? So if you've got one cup, I've got this cup here with my juice in, and if I had another cup with juice in, that would be double the amount of that thing. So double the amount of mass. If I weighed this, it would weigh X amount of grams. If I had two of them, it would weigh twice that amount of grams, right? I just want to make sure that we're talking on the same level.
No, it's still got the same amount of mass. Remember, one cup has its set mass. Now, if I put another cup there, it's also got its own set mass. I haven't added mass.
Add them together now, right? Well, you did. You've added the other cup, so you've now got two cups. That's twice the amount of mass. So twice the amount of pressure, which is what you said about the ratio. Okay, you said it's the ratio of the density to the medium that it's in, but it's not just the ratio of the density, it's the amount of things of the density, which is what we call mass. Yeah, again, I'm trying to steel man you here.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Because you going on the thinking of now your guys' gravity of mass, weight. That's what I'm saying. It's not. You got to think of it as I'm saying that's why you don't understand, because that's your line of thinking. You got to see it this way. The mass is exactly the same. The density is exactly the same. You just added more on the system, more pressure on the system.
By doing what?
By adding another cup.
Which adds more mass to the system. Can we agree that system now has twice the amount of mass in than before if you add another cup exactly the same?
If you have to say the system as a whole, yeah.
Right. Okay. So it's doubled the mass to increase the pressure in your, I'm just trying to understand, because, if you double something, then you've got twice the amount of it. So you have to be doubling the mass So, I'm just trying to confirm what you say is happening. Because I've got two cups of the same density, then, they're not going to move. But if I have, let's say I had, a glass tank of water, right? A medium of just one density. And then I had 7 blocks of concrete of all the same density. And in this tank, I had a seesaw, right? So I put 5 of these blocks on one side of the seesaw and 2 of the blocks on the other side of the seesaw. All of those blocks have the same density, but the blocks on the left side of the seesaw with 5 has a combined mass of a ratio of 5 to 2. So there's more mass, which is what's making it go down, which is what I think you said to me. It's the fact that there's more of it is making it go down, right?
On the system.
Yeah, so there's more of the system. So in my case, the system would be the seesaw, right?
You're just taking more physicality and putting it in place on the system.
Yeah, by adding extra mass to the system.
Yeah, but it depends what you claim.
That's basically what's happening.
It depends what you claim as mass, though.
I thought we've mass is simply the amount of stuff that there is, and then the density is how compact that stuff is in a certain area.
Okay, I can go with that. I can go with that.
That's, we don't need to get, there's a lot more, we can go down to the quantum level what mass is, but on a basic level, mass is the amount of stuff, density is how compact that stuff is in an area.
Okay.
So for your relative density disequilibrium, the thing to make it accelerate, say, downwards is what? What would change, say something's in its equilibrium, what would then change that to make it go down or up?
I don't understand. What do you mean if it's in equilibrium? Nothing's ever in equilibrium, though.
I mean, as close as it can be. Yeah, there's always going to be variations. But if like if you have a density tower and you drop an acorn in it, it's going to sit around 3 layers down on the honey or something, right? What would you have to do to that thing to make it go down further through the density tower?
I don't know the density. You just have to change the medium, or you would have to change the density of the object, because it's the ratio relationship between the two. That's why when I explained it, like if you take, that's why when I explained if you take a let's say a tennis ball, and you just pick it up and you drop it in air, the ratio compared to the air cannot support it. So it's got a greater pressure ratio than the air, so it sinks. Now, if you do the same and you drop it into water, it's going to fall through the air, and as soon as it hits the water, it starts floating because the pressure of the water, the medium, has a greater pressure ratio, so therefore it can support the ball. Now, if you take the medium away totally and do it in a vacuum, it's going to sink. Why? Because there's nothing to support it. It's seeking equilibrium, which is the foundational support medium.
Okay, right. So let's focus on what you said there about the vacuum, right? So let's assume we've got a vacuum chamber 20 meters high, and at the top of that, we put a feather, right? Why does it go down? What's why is the equilibrium it's trying to seek downwards? Because there's the same density of the walls and the ceiling, everything all around it. How does that feather know that down is a denser medium?
No, it doesn't know it's a denser medium. It's not intelligent. It cannot support it. The medium ratio is what supports it. It's all got to do with pressure.
Yeah, I'm with you. But why down in particular? Why if we could, that feather appears in that vacuum chamber, what makes it decide that it's going, I'm not saying the feather's got intelligence, but where is the thing that's making that feather go a particular direction rather than another? Because we can agree in a vacuum chamber, the medium is equal all around it, and the walls of the vacuum chamber and the ceiling and the floor are going to be equal density. So what's making that feather go to the floor of the vacuum chamber rather than another direction?
Easy, because you build a foundation of a building ground level. You picked that feather up, so you picked it up, correct? So you put energy into the system. So you literally had to pick it up, correct?
Yeah. Okay. Right. The feather's got kinetic energy. Let's agree with that. 100% on board that a feather will have kinetic energy, potential energy before it's released, and then kinetic energy as it's moving. So once that potential energy is converted into kinetic energy, what decides the vector? What decides which direction it's going to go?
The support.
There's the support of what?
The medium cannot support it. So
yeah, I'm with you there, but there's equal everything around it. There's no support below it. There's no support above it. There's no support to the side. So why in particular does it choose that one direction?
Because I picked the feather up from the ground. The air cannot support it. Now, if you're taking the air already that cannot support it away, there's even less to be able to support it. Why would it need to carry on going up? Why would you expect it to go up?
Because there's nothing deciding which way it moves. There's no reason it would go down in particular. It has energy. We both agree that there is energy in that feather. Before it's released, it's potential energy. As it's released, it's kinetic energy. All right? But how does that energy know to go towards the floor?
Because the air cannot support
that's
it.
I'm with you. But even if the energy knows that that's where it came from, the floor, what is making that energy go towards the floor rather than another direction? I know there's no support under it, but there's no support any other way. There's no way the feather, can tell what's going on. It's not alive. So the way the feather knows what's below it or above
Very
it.
simple.
So at the top of the vacuum chamber, why is it going down?
Very simple. You picking it up, you putting energy into the system. So when you let it go, would you expect it to carry on getting energy into the system? Or would you expect it to transfer that energy?
I would expect the energy to be transferred, but there's no determining factor as to which direction that energy would be.
Yes, it is. You picked it up. You picked it up. Remember?
Yeah, but I haven't decided where that energy is going. I don't get to decide which direction that energy is then dispersed in. That's not how the transfer of energy.
That's exactly how it works with potential energy. If you've picked it up, it's got a potential. It's got a potential to go to equilibrium.
But how does it know where equilibrium is? There's no determining factor in a massive vacuum chamber.
You picked it up.
Energy does
otherwise
a direction. The energy that I have, even if I agree with the assumption of I've picked it up and given it energy, that's why it's moving. There's no way that I can then decide that energy goes towards the floor. So I'm just trying to figure out why exactly there is the feather will go down rather than any other direction. I honestly can't understand it in your paradigm why that would be the case. There is no support underneath it or above it or any other direction, but there's also nothing intelligent happening to make that feather go down. And energy doesn't have an intrinsic direction. Kinetic energy can be dispersed in any direction.
Okay, let's say you push a ball. Now you've pushed it in a vector, correct? Is it going to end up stopping?
Once the kinetic energy has been converted into another kind of energy, yeah.
But is it still going to carry on going in that same vector after it's used up all the energy?
Not if the kinetic energy has been converted into another form of energy, no.
Great. So when I pick up a feather, I let it go, the energy is then converted. It's transferred into
I'm not pushing it with the ball. I pushed it in a direction, right? So I gave it that vector, but I'm not giving that feather a vector. I'm just letting it go. I'm not pushing it in any direction.
Yeah, but you picked up the feather. That's what you don't get. So you've picked it up. You've added energy into the system. When you let it go, you wouldn't expect it.
It doesn't have an intrinsic direction, though.
You wouldn't expect it. We both agree. You wouldn't expect it to carry on going up when you let it go. You literally had to pick it up to go into that vector.
Okay. There's no vector. That's the thing.
When you pick up a feather, there's no vector.
Not if I'm just holding it there. If I've picked up something, if I've got this lighter and I've just picked it up in my hand, it has no vector right now.
When you picked it up.
In that feather. But right now, as I'm holding it, there is no vector. Right now, all this lighter has is some potential energy, right? But
which is down,
that's
correct?
Energy. When I let it go, right, there it converts into kinetic energy and it accelerates down. But energy doesn't have an intrinsic direction, right? There's no you can't say to the energy, right, you're going to make it go down just because that's where you picked it up from. That doesn't matter in the slightest. The energy doesn't know to go back to where it came from. Energy will just go whichever direction the forces are making it go. So what is the force that's making something decide to accelerate in a certain direction in your paradigm?
Again, you had to pick it up. If you didn't need to pick it up, then you would have an argument. But the simple fact is you needed to pick it up and take it out of its equilibrium. So therefore it is out of this equilibrium and it seeks equilibrium based on you picking it up. So once you've let it go, it has to transfer the energy. It has to transfer that energy back. It has to transfer that energy back to its equilibrium point, which would not be up because that would be meaning it needs more energy. It cannot create more energy just because you let it go.
You said that it will go back to its equilibrium point from where you picked it up. How does it know where that equilibrium point is? If there's nothing to give it an indication, that there's an equilibrium in any direction. The feather in the middle of the vacuum chamber doesn't know that the equilibrium point that it came from is below it. There's no way that's not something that is transferred to the feather. So how does the feather know where its equilibrium point it was picked up from is? That's what I'm asking. Why is it deciding that direction?
Again, you picked it up. Okay?
Yeah, okay, I'm with that, but we're past me picking.
Was the ground
letting it go, right?
Was the ground supporting the feather?
Was when?
When the feather's on the ground, was the ground supporting it?
The ground could support the feather 100%, yes.
So when I picked it up from the ground supporting it and I let it go, is the air able to support it?
No, it's in a vacuum chamber. There's no air resistance.
Great.
But that doesn't explain why it goes back down to the floor. How does the feather know that it came from the floor to go back there?
The air cannot support it. The medium
The air
that
can't
you've
support
taken
it above
away.
it. But the air can't support it above it. The medium is...
Craig, you're starting to frustrate me, man. I've explained this to you. You put energy into... Can you stop talking over me? You put energy into the system. You put energy into the system. Okay? It cannot carry on putting more energy into the system when you let it go. That totally goes against physics.
Makes sense. Sorry. I agree with what you're saying. Well, I don't agree, but I'm just working within your paradigm that I gave that feather its energy. But there's no way energy doesn't have a direction it will automatically go. Just because I picked that feather up from the floor and took it up, that doesn't mean that energy is going to go back down to the floor. There's no reason that would happen.
Okay, where's it supposed to go then? Where's it supposed to go then?
Wherever. Well, matter just reacts to forces.
No, you said it's not supposed to go down, and then where's it supposed to go?
Any other direction. There's no reason why it wouldn't go another direction, because there's nothing supporting it above or below or to the side. So there has to be an intrinsic direction for something to go for it to go down.
Let's take an elastic band then, Craig. What happens when you stretch your elastic band? Does it try to go back to its shape?
Yeah, because it's connected.
Yeah, but does it?
The feather isn't connected to the floor.
Does it seek its equilibrium?
No, elastic band does not seek its equilibrium. That's not how it works.
Yes, it does, because its shape, coherent shape, is its equilibrium. Once you stretch it out of its equilibrium, it's going to release that energy and get back to its equilibrium point.
The feather is not, like, every part of that elastic band is connected to itself with materials that have certain values that allow it to stretch. The feather does not have any connection to the ground. There is nothing that is pulling it together. They are two completely separate things. There is no connection between the feather and the ground. There is nothing that has pulled it apart. There is no intrinsic direction for energy to go, right? So we can move away from the vacuum chamber and talk about a density tower.
Again, Craig.
It's a really good thing to talk about in this circumstance.
This is the most simplest thing to understand. You went and picked the feather up. That was the ground supporting it. You put energy into it when you picked it up. Which direction did you? Which direction did you pick the feather up from?
Down. I picked it up from the floor and took it up.
Okay, great. And the ground was supporting the feather. Now I put potential energy into this feather. Now when I let it go, it has now...
It's now got kinetic energy, and kinetic energy doesn't have an intrinsic direction. So why does that kinetic energy go down?
Again, I had to induce... Listen, I induced energy upwards.
That doesn't matter that you induced it. That it doesn't decide the direction something goes.
Can I talk, please? I induced the energy upwards. Okay?
I agree with that, yes.
So when you let go, why would you expect it's still to induce more energy once you've let go?
Because energy, acceleration requires a a force being applied over time, which is what the kinetic energy will be converted to. But there's no intrinsic direction. There's no reason to go down rather than up.
There's a good reason down.
Yeah, it goes down because it's because there's something acting on it to make it go down rather than any other direction. Picking isn't the reason something goes down. That's not how energy transfer works. All of physics currently disagrees with you.
No, physics actually agrees with me when it comes to potential and kinetic energy, mate.
As an engineer, I'm telling you it does not, because that's not how kinetic energy transfer works.
Okay, so when you pick up something and you put potential energy, you're telling me it's not going to have kinetic energy downwards?
I'm saying that there is no reason why the kinetic energy would go downwards. I'm agreeing that there will. I'm agreeing there would be a potential transfer from potential to kinetic energy, but there is no reason that downwards is that direction.
Yes, there's a good reason, because it has to use that energy that you implanted into the system.
But the energy doesn't know which way to go. The energy doesn't know where it came from.
Okay, let's put it this way. Craig?
Does energy have an intelligence? Simple question. Does energy have an intelligence to know where it came from?
Okay, Greg, let's put it this way. If you had to, let's say, pick the ball up a meter high, it has potential energy to where?
If I had to, potential energy to where isn't a sentence that makes any sense.
Potential energy has a vector to it. So where?
No, it does not.
Yes, it does.
Potential energy does not have a vector to it.
Really?
Potential energy is just energy stored with an object that can be converted to another form of energy. Potential energy does not have a vector, a direction.
So, so let's place it this way. If I'm holding a ball up a meter off the ground, it has potential energy. How do you work this potential energy out to get an acceleration if it has no direction?
Gravity.
If it has
potential energy.
Oh, so now it has got a direction. So that's hypocritical.
Because you would need gravity to calculate that. If you want to calculate the potential energy, and potential energy is a thing that exists within the globe paradigm, you would need to use gravity to actually calculate the potential energy in a particular object. So, I mean,
again,
how do you calculate it? You calculate it using gravity, which is what gives something a vector in our paradigm.
And what if I told you we can take that same acceleration base and just call it unicorn farts and get the exact same response?
You can call it what you want, but it's still gravity is going to be gravity, whatever. It doesn't matter.
The problem is you guys don't have gravity to be able to have that. Now you can call it gravity all you want for potential energy. It doesn't make gravity real. Now I can say yes. I can say
potential energy a direction. Then
I told you the density to ratio of the medium.
But in a vacuum chamber, there's no ratio that goes downward.
The object is forcing itself through the medium.
How? What's causing that force?
The object is causing a pressure on the medium. It's pressing on the medium.
Which direction is it pressing?
The supporting direction.
When there's nothing supporting and there's equal medium all around it, how does it know that down is where the support would be needed?
When you build a building, where's the foundation built, Craig?
At the bottom, but a feather and a isn't ancient.
So we can say, based on natural observation,
are you saying that energy is this what you're? I want to steel man you here.
No, I'm trying to finish my statement. So we can say, based on natural observation, foundations are always at the bottom. All support is always at the bottom.
Not necessarily.
Oh, really? Okay, show me support of something that's at the top or the left or the right, please.
So the submarine escape training tank in Gosport, where I did my submarine training, has hatches all along the as you go down the tower. It's like a 100-meter tower of water, and as you go down, there's hatches that go up, and the support structures for the towers actually use a buoyant force pushing up with a structure support at the top to hold the hatch up. So the structure, the actual, support of that structure is above it, not below it.
That container structure is built in the submarine, correct?
I'm not talking about that container structure. I'm talking about the particular structure holding up that that hatch, which has its foundation at the top and not the bottom.
No, that's not the foundation just because the pressure's pushing it up.
That hatch is at the top, not the bottom.
No, that's not the foundation.
It's absolutely the foundation.
No, it's not.
Well, no, it's the foundation, the structure that supports that hatch as it's being held open.
Okay, let's put it this way then. Let's take a bottle then, Craig, and it's filled with air, and you put it down in the bottom of the water. Is it the lid that's supporting the bottle, or is it the bottle itself that's supporting the bottle?
No, the water's supporting the bottle.
Ah, so it's the medium then. Where's the medium?
The medium's around it.
And which direction? And which direction is the bottle going, Craig? And which
like the medium of water that the submarine escape training tank is in, with the foundational support of the hatch at the top of the hatch and not the bottom. But this is irrelevant. It's just an engineering quirk that we use the buoyant force to calculate, but it's irrelevant to the conversation. So it's a bit of a side. My fault for the sidebar there. Let's go back to what we were talking about.
No, but this is exactly part of the thing. So, which direction does the bottle go then in the water?
Which direction does where is the bottle to start with?
Inside. We just placed it full air inside submerged in the water. Which way is the bottle going?
What's in the bottle?
Just air.
Just air in the bottle. Well, the buoyant force would force it upwards normally, yeah.
Great. So then the water's supporting it, correct? It will be floating on top of the water.
Yeah. So
the foundation,
buoyant force pushing up, right?
Foundation is bottom then.
For that bottle, when it's up above, it's the water is what it's sitting on, but. That's
so we observe then. So we observe then all the support, all the foundations for everything is at bottom. When you build a building, the support, the foundation is at the bottom. Everything is based on support. When you pick something up,
right,
you have to support it, or it will go where? Seek equilibrium. Where it's supposed to go, its density ratio.
How does anything know that the equilibrium is any particular direction when it's in a vacuum chamber? That's the question. That why does it go down rather than any other direction, right? Simple. But then I wanted to move on to a density, right?
Wait, before we do move on to density, now it's simple. In air, if it cannot support it, why would you expect it to support it when you've taken the medium away? You've taken something that can support it little bit. Taking it away, totally.
I would expect it to, because gravity is a thing.
No,
because there is an acceleration acting on it, creating a force. That's why I would say
sorry. We're not even talking about gravity right now because we'll get to that.
You asked me why would it happen, and that's what I would say would happen. I can't think it would happen.
Look, if you have a medium that it has pressure. The air has pressure all around. It's bouncing totally around it, up and down against that object. But it hasn't got enough pressure to support it. If you take that medium away now, that little bit of pressure that could little support it can't do its job. You've taken it away. Why would you expect it now to be able to support it?
I'm not saying it would be able to support it.
Great,
right?
So there's your answer why it goes down then.
So if we're talking about it being in a medium, like the air, for instance, okay, we drop that feather in the air, it's going to go down, but slowly, obviously, because of air resistance, right? But we know in the air, there's a gradient of pressure. So the more dense medium is down. There's going to be denser medium, until it reaches the bit where it's no longer a denser medium. But in a vacuum chamber, there's no gradient. There's no there's no way that feather is going to know, oh, down is towards the bit that is what is supporting me.
Okay.
Which is why I want to go on to a density tower, because that's the next important part of this conversation.
Okay. How would you have a density gradient in a vacuum?
Well, you don't. That's my point. There is no gradient in a vacuum. So in the vacuum, there's a gradient.
You know why? You know why there's no density gradient in a vacuum?
No, that's kind of not the point here. Outside of a vacuum, the feather has a reference as to where the denser medium is because it's in a gradient. In a vacuum, there is no gradient, so the feather doesn't know which way is there more dense medium below me? Is there more dense medium above me? For that feather, the denser medium, the equilibrium, is at every single point around it. So there has to be a reason for it to go in a particular direction. No. There has to be an acceleration happening in one particular direction, which takes, very importantly, to the density tower. Okay? Look, why does a density tower exist?
Again, a feather's not sentient. It has got no intelligence to know where it's supposed to go.
There has to be something.
So let's... Okay, I think I'm going to try and draw it on paint for you. I'm going to share my screen.
Right. Let's go to the density tower because this is the important bit.
We will get there. I first got to get you to understand why mediums can either support or not support it.
Paradigm.
No,
right?
So it makes perfect sense. It's just you are either choosing...
Right, I've tried my hardest to steal Manu, but it makes no sense according to physics, which is why I want to move to the density tower. And it's a simple question about the density tower. Why does this density tower arrange itself in a particular direction?
Okay, I see you've disabled the screen, share screen.
I haven't. Let me. Sorry.
Sure. I just want to see if I can draw it for you. It might make it more sense for you.
The thing is, I understand what you're saying, Flatzoid. You don't need to draw it. I get what you're saying. It just makes no sense.
Oh, it makes a lot of sense.
Drawing it isn't going to make any difference because it's still not.
Oh yeah, well, because it's even going to help you understand why density towers don't mix.
I picture what you're saying. I do not need you to draw it for me. I know what you're saying. There's just no physical sense or reason behind what you're saying, which is why I want to move to the density tower because it's the next important part of the conversation. So, what causes a density tower?
The densities, the ratios, exactly the same argument.
So why does the density tower arrange itself with heavier stuff at the bottom and lighter stuff, less dense stuff at the top? What is making that arrangement? And
the ratios.
The ratios.
Yeah. The pressure ratio.
Do you want to extrapolate on that?
Remember I told you that you got a density to pressure ratio? So
I don't know.
If the object has a higher pressure ratio than the surrounding medium, like this ball, which I picked up from the ground. Oh, sorry. I don't want to save. There we go. Okay. It has a direction to it. The direction is going to be... Well, listen.
What you're saying. I really do. It just doesn't make sense. There's no...
Listen.
Behind saying...
Okay, I'm going to try... Look what I'm saying. I've picked it up from the ground.
Yeah.
It was It was on the ground. It was on the ground at its equilibrium point. On the ground. I picked it up. Now, I caused it to have potential energy to seek equilibrium, okay? Because it was at its equilibrium point. Now, the gas around it is hitting it from every direction, up, down, left, right, center, doesn't matter.
There will be more gas hitting it from below than above because there's a density gradient in the air, right?
Not actually, but okay. So,
well, no, there is.
It cannot support it. Okay. Now, just
we
like
agree.
Archimedes. Well, what about Archimedes' principle when you got a ship? You got some water underneath in the sea.
I just want to agree on the point that there's more gas hitting it below than above because there's more density below than above because there's a gradient, right? Okay. That's a fact, right?
Very minimal, but that doesn't matter because the support is back at its equilibrium point. This is the equilibrium point. Now, when you've picked up the ball, you would agree you've placed energy into the system of this ball.
There is now potential energy in the ball.
Okay, great. Now, as soon as I let it go, okay, why would you expect it to gain more energy to go up?
I'm not saying it would gain more energy. I'm just saying there's no reason it would go a particular direction.
I'm telling you, it will go a particular direction because it has to use. Listen,
more energy to go up.
Because it has.
Why does it? Right. Here's the question then. Why do you need energy to pick something up?
Well, last time I checked, there's a thing called entropy.
Way.
You have to transfer energy to do something. Remember, it cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed or transferred. So that's me. That's me. That's me picking up the ball, transferring energy to the ball.
But energy doesn't know which way to go. Energy has no intrinsic direction.
Again, Craig, this is literal children's things to understand. I picked it up from the ground. It was at equilibrium. Craig, listen a bit, mate. It was at the ground at equilibrium. I picked...
I've heard what you're saying, Flatzoid. It doesn't make any sense.
I've picked it up.
That's what I'm... There's... I get what you're saying. It just doesn't make sense.
And I've picked it up from the ground. I was holding it with my hand. I could support it by holding it up. As soon as I let it go, there's nothing to support it because the air is not able to support it. So it has to use that energy. Now, if you're saying, if you're saying why is it not going up by using that energy, then that goes against what energy is. Listen. It needs to. It has
energy direction.
It has to seek its.
Is energy a scalar? Yes or no?
It has to seek its equilibrium. Where was its equilibrium, Craig? Where was it?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't know where its equilibrium is. Why does it have to seek its equilibrium? Why is it doing that? Why does it know? Oh, I have to go and seek my equilibrium. What's making it do that?
If you can stop talking, I can maybe get it through to you. You picked it up out of equilibrium, which was on the foundation. It matters. Which is at the foundation. Which is at the foundation. The ground was supporting it. When I'm holding it in my hand, I am supporting it. So when I let it go, the air is now supposed to support it, but it cannot. It cannot. So what happens?
Why is it trying to go down?
Because the air cannot support it. It has foundational...
There's air above it, below it, left to the right. So why is it choosing to not be supported specifically by the air below it?
Because the pressure is greater by the object than the air around it. The ball is forcing... The ball is forcing itself through the air. So it's seeking equilibrium.
So there's a force. What's the force?
It's the object forces itself.
Objects don't force objects. Forces.
Oh, so you say
acceleration.
Oh, Craig, can I say more than 2 words, please? That ball is causing a pressure. It's forcing itself on the medium. It's got a greater pressure than the medium, so the medium cannot support the ball.
Pressure.
It's out
force
of
over area.
Yes.
Yeah. So what's the force over the area?
The gas is hitting the ball in every direction. That's a pressure. But the ball having a greater pressure. Can you please let me talk, mate? Please. Okay.
I need you to actually do the whole thing. If you're talking about pressure, you need to talk about where the force comes from, because pressure is force over area.
Craig, this is getting ridiculous, man. I'm trying very hard to be nice here, but you're talking too much. The thing is, I'm
just asking very simple questions,
and I'm trying to explain something to you that my 5-year-old understands.
No 5-year-old understands this because this isn't what 5-year-olds are taught. Oh,
so no 5-year-old knows if you pick up a ball, it's going to drop to the ground again.
they wouldn't say it was because it's not being supported. They would probably understand that there's a force involved.
Remember in the beginning you said you don't want to straw man me. This is exactly what you're doing. You're pushing your gravity belief onto me explaining to relative
I haven't said
density.
gravity. I'm just saying there's a force involved.
Yes. And the nice thing is gravity doesn't have a force, so you can't actually push it onto
Gravity creates a force. We all know that.
No. Gravity is no force. It has no force. It can't create a force. No, but we're still going to get into that. I'm trying to explain to you relative density, this equilibrium quickly, like you asked. So if you would stop talking over me and trying to push your gravity nonsense onto it, we can actually.
I haven't tried to push anything at all. I'm just trying to understand because my degree in physics makes me understand that where forces are involved and what requires a force and acceleration, everything. So I'm just using my knowledge of physics that I spent years and years and years gathering and proving that is correct with my engineering skills to try and understand the things that you are saying. But specifically, the things that you are saying go against known physics. So I'm just trying to understand your point. When it doesn't match what physics says. Okay. That's all.
Okay, let's test this out. You say it goes against physics, correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Because
according to physics, when I pick up a ball and I let it go in air, what happens?
Depends where you are.
When I pick up a ball and I'm in air and I let it go, what happens?
If I was on the ISS, it would just stay there.
No, I'm sorry. We're not going to Narnia. I'm saying we're on Earth now.
ISS isn't Narnia.
Oh, yes. It violates natural law.
Okay. So we're talking specifically about on Earth, right?
Observable physics, yes.
Yeah. So specifically on Earth, if I drop a ball, it will go towards the ground.
Okay. So if I'm saying it's going towards the ground, you're telling me that's not what physics says, then you are lying then.
Physics explanation for it isn't what your explanation for it is.
Again, that's a straw man. You want me to explain relative... Listen.
Say that hold on, one sec, please. To say that your position goes against what physics says is not a straw man.
It is.
In the slightest.
Because you said,
it's not.
You said we don't observe this in reality.
I didn't. I didn't say that at all. I said that the ball on Earth, the ball will go towards the ground. That's the same in both your paradigm and mine. The explanation for it is the important thing, because the explanation for it, according to physics, is not what you are saying.
Again, according to physics, we require a force for a mass to accelerate.
100% yes.
Great. So what is happening when the ball is sitting here if it cannot be supported? It would be forcing itself through the medium to seek equilibrium. So in other words, force equals mass times acceleration.
Yeah, okay, so where's the acceleration coming from?
The ball forcing itself through the medium because the medium cannot support it.
So a force has to be applied over time for an acceleration to happen. That a ball can't release its energy over time. That a ball doesn't have any way to slowly release its own energy to be its own.
Okay, so when I've picked it up and I've held it in my hand.
One second. Again, what you just said, the way you describe the ball releasing its own energy and being its own force is against what physics says, which is why I'm trying to understand.
Again, I'm holding the ball, okay? I'm supporting it. The air around the ball in my hand cannot support it because it's denser than the air around it. You take a density tower, like you love to say, and say, oh, but the density ratio sorts itself out of density at the lowest point. Yeah? So, in physics, observational physics, we can see the density is always going to go unamuno down. So that ball is denser than the air. Listen. I applied a force. I applied a force to pick that ball up.
A force needs to be applied over time. You're not applying that force over time for the acceleration to happen.
Okay, so my hand is just instantaneously. That was, by the way, time. It took me time to get my hand up. I applied a force. Listen, Craig. I applied a force. I applied a force to get it up to that point. When I let it go, the energy is now released, and it is having a force as it's forcing itself down through the medium.
That's not what a force is. That is not what a force is. A force needs to be applied over time for a mass to accelerate.
Does it take time for that ball to fall to the ground, Craig?
Yeah, but how is that ball releasing that force? Where is that force coming from? A ball. Hold on. That ball cannot be its own force releasing its own energy over time. That's not, again, what you just said goes against what physics says. So I'm just trying, from my knowledge of physics, my degree in physics, the fact that I tutor people in physics, all of this, I'm just trying to take all the knowledge I have of physics and understand what you're saying, because it goes against everything that physics says. So that's all.
No, it doesn't. According to physics, according to physics, you require force for mass to accelerate. Therefore, I have a force.
Physics also says that a force needs to be applied over time,
and
not a force being its own thing. An object cannot apply its own force over time.
Okay,
there has to be a force to that object.
What is
that object? Is mass, not the force.
Would you say pressure is a force?
No, pressure is force over area.
Great. So there's a force over area with this ball and the medium.
Yeah.
Great. And what happens when you force
Where's the pressure
what
coming
happens
from?
When you force what happens when you force something on an area? What happens? Is that a force, a pushing force?
You can apply a pressure to a particular area, and that can be calculated as a force. But in your paradigm, what you're saying is that pressure of the air is making it go down. Is that right? Again, I don't want to straw man you.
No. The object's pressure to ratio is greater than the medium. The medium cannot support it. So the object is forcing itself through. Right? So the object is forcing itself through the medium to get to its equilibrium point, which you took it out, of its ability
to force itself. Objects aren't saying.
Can pressure cause acceleration? Can pressure cause acceleration?
Where's the pressure coming from?
Can pressure cause acceleration?
Pressure is force over area. That can be part of the calculation of what's causing it.
So it can cause an acceleration.
Yeah, we agree there's a pressure, but why there's still no particular reason.
Simple yes or no. Can pressure cause an acceleration, Craig?
A pressure on something can accelerate something, yes, because pressure is force over area. So you apply it to a certain area of that thing, it will apply a force to, compared to the area, and you could calculate the force over the area to the particular point and calculate the acceleration from the forces involved.
Great.
But
the ball now.
Right?
So now the ball, listen, so the ball now, the ball is applying a pressure onto the medium, correct?
The ball can't apply anything.
The ball is applying a pressure onto the medium, correct?
No, a ball can't apply anything. A ball doesn't have anything to apply. There has to be a force applied to the ball for the ball to create a pressure.
So when I drop a ball through the air, it's not accelerating with pressure.
No, it's not accelerating with pressure. It's accelerating because there's a force acting on it.
Pressure of the ball.
It's force over area.
Yeah.
Not force.
It's forcing itself through the medium, Craig.
Force itself. That's not how physics works, right?
That's exactly how physics works, Craig. The problem is...
every single physics professor in the world disagrees with you.
No, they don't. They would say, Craig, things fall down because it has a force attributed to it.
There is a force acting on things. Yeah, we know that. Right?
So the pressure of the object forcing itself through the medium is a what again?
Say that again.
So the ball is causing a pressure. So it's forcing itself. It's forcing itself. It's forcing itself through. It's forcing itself through the medium, which is what?
Again, a ball can't force itself. There has to be a force applied to the ball for it, to be able to move. That's how something would accelerate.
Okay, so balls don't accelerate. So you're saying when we let go observable when we let go of a ball, we don't see it accelerate?
I didn't say that. You're strawmanning me now, but
No,
it accelerate
because
force of being.
you trying to tell me I'm not allowed to use what we see every day in observable reality because
I didn't
we don't
say that.
want. Yeah, it's exactly what
That
you're
once.
saying.
No, I didn't.
We see a ball. When I let
Strawmanning
it
me.
go, we see a ball. When we let it go, it accelerates due to it forcing itself through the medium. That means
things can't force themselves. A ball doesn't have the ability to force itself.
I picked the ball up. I put the energy into the system, Craig.
Physics disagrees with that's how it works.
I picked the ball up.
If we're going to talk about physics, we have to talk about how physics works, and that's not how physics works.
I picked up the ball, which is me putting a force into the system, Craig.
Force isn't a vector either. It's a scalar, same as energy.
Your beloved gravity physics of your globe has got nothing to do with relative density disequilibrium. So stop pushing your belief of
I haven't said anything about
gravity. That's all you do.
I haven't said anything about that. No, I'm not. I am going with known physics and trying to understand your paradigm. That's all. Don't get angry because I am countering the things that you were saying by saying that physics disagree. No, what I'm doing is saying that physics disagree. I'll get to the countering. I'm just trying to understand your position. But you need to understand that what you are saying goes against all of established physics.
Okay, I'm going to say this one more time. According to physics, if I pick up a ball, it will fall back down if it's denser than the medium around it. That is established physics.
No, that's just an observation. That's not established physics. Physics is the explanation behind something, not just an observation.
Right. So, the explanation for physics for relative density disequilibrium is the reason we see this observable ball forcing itself through the medium is because the medium cannot support the ball, so the ball having its potential energy is now forcing itself through the medium, aka acceleration.
Again, that goes against what established physics says. So I'm just trying to understand.
No, it doesn't.
Where you're coming from. But it really does. Established physics says that's not how it works. So this is why I want to get onto the density tower. All right. Yeah. So we've got a density tower arranged in a certain way, so the more dense stuff at the bottom, the less dense stuff at the top. Right. So why can we get rid of that arrangement by, dropping it?
Very simple. All the frames are falling at the same rate.
So they're all falling at the same rate. Why does the density tower disappear? Surely, if the same thing is happening to all of them.
Listen.
And let me finish. Let me finish, please.
You asked me a question. You want me to answer?
I haven't finished my question. Right. Let me actually finish my question before you try and answer. Right. So, if the pressure ratio, to the object in the medium is the reason why there's a density tower, that ratio is still going to exist when all of the density tower is moving at the same speed or accelerating at that speed. That ratio never disappears, but the density tower does.
Okay.
How does the density tower or the things within the density tower know that they are now falling?
Let me put this. See if I can make this very simple. This is a cup. Okay, it's a system. Yeah. Let's say I've got liquid in here and I've got air, and we got some things just sitting in a neutral position with the air. Now remember, this cup is in a system around it, the Earth. When I got everything in this cup and I'm dropping it, it's accelerating. What's accelerating? The air,
everything,
the liquid, and the object inside it. They're all accelerating at the same accelerative time.
They're all going at the same. Yeah,
okay, great. Relative to what, Craig?
but they're accelerating relative to the floor of the Earth.
Relative to the surrounding system, which would be the Earth.
Well, yeah, we could say relative to anything on or in the Earth.
Okay, great. Now let's take that same cup, and it's stationary. It's not accelerating. What's happening with the water, the air, and the object inside that cup? Remember, it's not accelerating relative to the surrounding system now. What's happening?
When it's not accelerating, it's just sitting there doing nothing. But that doesn't answer my question. My question was if the
no. Remember, what is force? What is F equals ma say?
Force equals mass times acceleration. You need a force to accelerate a mass.
Right. Now, if they are sitting at its relative, if the density tower is sitting at its relative, if the density tower now is sitting at its relative density, relative equilibrium, so it's already sorted itself into its ratios. It's not accelerating anymore. It's now static.
Yeah, but then why does that density tower disappear if the whole thing starts to accelerate?
It doesn't. As soon as you let it go, it stays in its static position.
No,
why?
As soon as you let it go, as soon as you let it go and it's accelerating down, the density tower disappears.
No, it stays the same.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. That's
whatever you left it at that point of whatever you left it at that point, if you shake it and you throw it down, obviously it's going to be mumbled up because everything is going to accelerate at the same rate around with the system. Okay? Now,
but here's the thing.
If you just
do what you're saying.
If you just took the density tower and you did not first shake it around and just dropped it what you did at freefall, it would keep the same accelerator.
No, it doesn't. That's the point.
It does. Maybe you've never watched any.
I have. That's the thing. As soon as you let it go and it's in freefall, that density arrangement no longer exists.
It stays the same, Craig.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
That's the whole point of the vomit comet experiment. And he doesn't shake it. He just holds it there. And as soon as they go into their parabolic dive and G is countered, the density tower no longer exists. If you hold a density tower in your hand,
Craig,
and you let go, hold on, let me finish. If you're holding a density tower in your hand and you let it go, as soon as you let it go and it accelerates towards the ground, those arrangements aren't there anymore.
The arrangement stays exactly the same. The only change if you shake it, you know that guy you're talking about? He shaked it before they decided to go down.
He didn't. And I've done this experiment myself and so many other people. You can do it yourself. If you drop it without shaking it, as soon as you drop it, they just all mix up.
Okay.
Because there's no overriding force creating it. This is something you are simply wrong about, Flatzoid.
Okay. No, I'm not wrong. Craig, I know 100% right on this. And you know how I'm going to show you this?
As soon as it's in freefall, the density mixes up. It no longer has its arrangement.
No. Craig?
This is a fact.
Can you please bring that video up with that guy in the density tower in the vomit comment for us?
Yeah, but we're not talking about that specifically right now.
No, you made a claim that he didn't shake it and it changes the... Okay, and it mixes it up when it's in freefall. So please show us this.
Yeah, the second they go into freefall, it disappears. He doesn't shake it up. Right, let me just bring up the video 1 second. But then there's a follow-on question from this, which is the most important question. I'm going to get to that in a sec. Thank you for the super chats, guys. And yeah, I know I said the wrong thing. I meant to say that force is the vector and density is the scalar. I said it the wrong way around. Come on, sorry, my computer has gone slow all of a sudden. There you are. Display one. Okay. We'll make this big. That's what she said. So here we get to the point where it goes, okay, so come on, play. My internet seems to be going very slowly and we'll actually play it.
Seems to be have mixed.
This is the wrong video.
Oh, so he's mixing it.
That's a show at that point. Let me get you the right one. This is ones that have been edited by flat earthers, so I need to find the actual one that's not been edited by a flat earther. Does he show the whole thing? No, well, that's again one edited by a flat earther. Interesting that the ones that are showing are now the ones edited by a flat earther. I did have this stored. Again, that's one edited by a flat earther.
Interesting.
I can't seem to find the original video right now, which is actually the opposite of what we normally see, isn't it?
Can I just quickly say my 2 super chats because before I forget?
Yeah, go ahead. If anyone's got a link to the original video of that, can they please send it to me? Because the only ones that I can find are ones edited by flat earthers. What the hell?
Tony Whitcomb, thank you for your £10 super chat. He says, Craig, will everything you drop in Atmo go down no matter what you have in your hand?
No.
Sorry?
No.
No.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, so it's against... Okay, and Skeptic936, thank you very much. He says $20 super chat, channel support. Thank you very, very much, mate. I really appreciate all the support, guys.
Section on Flatzoid's channel. Even though Flatzoid and I clearly disagree about a lot, right? One thing that I've noticed is that Flatzoid has put a hell of a lot of effort into his channel. He struggles with power and shit going out all the time, but he still tries to do his daily streams. And even though I disagree with pretty much everything the guy says, right, I have to respect the grind that he's putting in. And if you guys are watching his channel, and every day you come in, the best thing that you can do for Flatzoid is support him to keep his channel going. Just a £2 super chat here or there, and it will, I don't want to see his channel disappear because I enjoy these conversations. And the best way to keep his channel here and keep him doing this is for you guys that watch it, you flat earthers, to support him with super chats.
Thank you very much, Craig. But like I said, me and Craig, at least, we do. Actually, he's a nice guy behind scenes. This is more of the act. So, yeah. No, thanks, Craig. I really appreciate it.
Well, I understand the effort that goes into it, and you do your daily shows, and that takes a lot of with what you go through. That takes a modicum of respect, and the people that are watching you, they need to give you that support so that you can keep doing it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate you. Appreciate your shout out. Thanks.
I honestly can't find that original video. All right. Okay. So
no, that's fine. It's fine. We got that. Yeah. Then I'm going to say, have you seen the one Rachie does and Dal did?
No, I haven't. Please link those to me. Right.
They also did it, and it did not mix.
They what? Sorry.
They also let it fall at free fall, and they did not mix.
Well, the one I saw Rachie do did mix.
Even Mortimer 81, it also didn't mix.
He's definitely mixed. Right. Okay, but this moves to the next question, right? So, without dropping it, will a density tower always arrange itself that way? From if it the density tower is there, and it will always be from the bottom where it's denser. As you go up, it's less dense, right? Would you say that's correct?
Yeah, relative to its reference, correct? Yeah.
Lubru, right? Don't get me wrong, okay? I'm not supporting Flatzoid. I'm not giving him money. I'm not telling you guys to give him money. I'm telling his flat earthers watching him to give him money. I think some people get confused and I wouldn't go to you guys and say go and support Flatzoid because you're my supporters, but his supporters, which he has a relative amount of, they should support him,
which I really appreciate. Yeah, and you guys, and I say ditto. Yeah, guys, support Craig as well. I mean, he's also a YouTuber. It is his job, so I would also say that.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I chuck super chats at him, and I wouldn't expect you guys to. I was specifically talking to the flat earthers that support him there, right? If you're watching something, whether you should support it. It's just that's how it is. We might not agree with it, but there's people out, just like you're getting entertainment from watching me, they're getting entertainment from watching him, so they should support it if they want to see it keep going.
Craig.
Right,
So Craig, this chat we're having is on relative density theorem. The next one we're going to have on gravity of the globe, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to kind of get round to that, but I wanted to kind of just get your position down first so that I can correctly give my argument to it. And this is getting to the.
Oh wait, Rachel's got a point. She says you did support me. You became a member. So thank you very much.
Yeah, that's the free YouTube thing that I get each month. I thought, well, we're doing this thing together, so I'll give you the free thing that I give you.
So yeah.
With the density tower, what happens if, for instance, you were to put it and have it sideways and start spinning it around in a circle? What's going to happen to the density tower then?
It has centrifugal forces to it and centripetal forces. So it's going to mix the densities to the edges. Like a bucket, when you swing it around, the water goes to the edge.
Yeah.
But that's a false equivalence to what the density does with a up and down vector.
Right. So if it's it's spinning, it's got centrifugal force. The density towers will arrange itself with the densest stuff towards the outside and the least dense stuff towards the middle, right?
If it spins long enough, yeah.
It's still going to be there, but it's going to be sideways.
If it spins long enough, yeah.
Yeah, and it's doing that because why?
Because it's forcing itself to the edges. That's how it works. It's got a fictitious force to it.
So there's a force being applied.
Just like when you get on a merry-go-round, you have a fictitious force which makes you feel like you're going to be flung off.
Yeah, right. So there's a force being applied to it. That's my point, right? So as it's spinning, there is a force being applied to it, which in that circumstance makes the density tower arrange itself sideways. So the density tower is in that arrangement because there's a centrifugal force being applied to it, right?
On that equivalence, yeah.
Yep. So we can agree that in that circumstance, the reason for the density tower is the force, the centrifugal force, acting on everything in that density tower. There's a force acting in the direction outwards, which means that it arranges itself in that direction, right?
Yeah, and you do know to have a fictitious force, you need an actual force present first.
Well, which part is the actual force?
Them spinning the merry-go-round or spinning that.
That's not a force.
Tower. You have to have a force to cause the acceleration to spin.
Yeah, well, I mean, something is.
You need an actual force.
Yeah,
actual
something
force gives rise to a fictitious force. That's how it works.
Yeah, no one's disagreeing with that. The spin of the instrument that it's in is causing a centrifugal force, an acceleration that's acting on the mass in the density tower and making it arrange in that particular direction. So because there's a force acting on it, that's the direction it arranges.
Great.
So are you saying that the physics of how it arranges is different compared to which direction it's going?
No, that's a false equivalence. A centrifugal force is totally different to a pressure force.
A pressure force.
Yes. The object is forcing itself through the medium. It's causing pressure. It's
pressure force. Could you show me what that is? Maybe there's a mathematical explanation.
It's forcing itself on through the medium. The medium cannot support it as it's forcing itself through.
Yeah, so something is, the centrifugal force is pushing each of those things towards the denser medium, but they can't go through the things, right? So we agree it's the force acting on those things, pushing them outwards, but the density tower happens because the support at this point is sideways and it can't go through that thing that's supporting it because it's sideways, because the force is acting on it that way. So in this case, the reason for the density tower is an overarching force acting on the whole thing. But according to you, when the density tower is just sitting there,
Sorry. Is centrifugal force a fictitious force or an actual force, Craig?
it's a measurable force that exists.
Fictitious or actual?
But it's an actual force.
No, centrifugal force is a fictitious force. It's not an
Yeah,
actual
which
force.
is still an actual force.
No. There's a difference
Yeah,
between
I don't
fictitious.
really understand what fictitious means in the sense of forces. Again, this is what I mean with my degree in physics. I understand that, we call the thing, there's other names for fictitious forces, inertial forces, we can call them different things. Fictitious is just because they call it something because it arises in a particular reference frame. Outside of a reference frame, it looks like something else. But within a particular reference frame, it's a real thing that exists that is measurable. You can literally measure centrifugal force.
Which has to arise from an actual force. Without an actual force, you cannot have a fictitious force present.
No, again, that's not what a fictitious force is. That's not how it works.
Show me a fictitious force where there's no actual force present, please.
That sentence doesn't make any sense.
It does. Show me a fictitious force that is not there without an actual force present.
Again, that sentence doesn't make any sense.
Okay, let me try to explain this way. If you're on a merry-go-round, it takes actual force to spin the merry-go-round. The fictitious force arises due to the force spinning it. That means it's forcing you off of the platform. That is a fictitious force caused by an actual force. So now you saying you do not require you saying you do not require the actual force to have a fictitious force. So I'm asking you, can you please show me this?
Can I show you what? So you want, for instance, to have centrifugal acceleration without something initially starting it. Well, that wasn't my claim. That's a straw man of my claim.
No, it's not, because you clearly said
no, a centrifugal force is just a force that acts when an object is rotating.
Which requires an actual force, a physical force.
No, it requires an acceleration.
Which is caused by an actual force.
I don't think you understand what you're saying there.
I understand exactly what I'm saying.
No, a force, you're saying a force is caused by a force. No, a force is caused
a fictitious force is caused only present by an actual force.
Well, no, because a fictitious force can still be calculated with MA. So you don't calculate a fictitious force by having another force.
Is a fictitious force an actual force, Craig?
In a reference frame, yes.
Centrifugal force is an actual force.
Within the particular reference frame, yes.
No. I think you should go learn the difference between a fictitious force and an actual force, please.
Let's not call it a fictitious force. Let's refer to it as an inertial force instead, because that's a better term for it that is used. Okay? So an inertial force is a real force that exists, that can be measured within a reference frame.
That first requires an actual force to give it rise.
No, force, you don't calculate
a fictitious force. A fictitious force is secondary.
When you're doing your physics degree, it's referred to as an inertial force. That's the best way to talk about it. Obviously, the word fictitious is confusing you.
And what's inertia? Mate? And what's inertia?
So, inertia is the energy something has as it's moving. But an inertial force is another word for a fictitious force, right? Do you agree with that? Because that's just a fact.
Okay, so you would agree then we have inertial forces.
You agree that an inertial force is the same thing as a fictitious force?
Yeah.
Right, okay, so let's just call it an inertial force, because obviously the word fictitious is confusing you slightly, all right?
Right.
So how do you calculate an inertial force with MA? You don't calculate an inertial force by using another force.
Okay, great.
You simply calculate an inertial force by MA.
Okay, so we can agree now then the ball forcing itself through the medium is now an inertial force. Congratulations.
No, balls can't force themselves. There has to be something forcing it. Like in the case of the sideways spinning density tower, the thing that is forcing that ball is the centrifuge.
Which is an inertial force, correct?
which is an inertial force. Yes, so there is.
Again,
that's the.
So again,
force.
what's inertia? What's inertia
That
then?
is wait, hold on. That is the force that is acting on the ball going through the density tower. Okay, so the ball is not the force. The centrifugal force is the force. So all of a sudden, the ball doesn't become the force just because the density tower isn't spinning anymore.
I never said that.
Why does the ball magically become the force? Because you just said the ball is forcing its way through. The ball is not a force. There has to be a force acting on the ball, which in the case of the sideways spinning density tower is the centrifugal force. So where is the equal force that is acting on a density tower when it's standing still?
This is the ball. Okay? It's
the ball's not a force. We can agree with that.
Forcing itself.
No, it's not. It's being forced by centrifugal acceleration. The centrifugal force is pushing it.
Inertial force then. We agree then the ball has inertial force.
No, the ball doesn't have an inertial force. It's being affected by an inertial force. It's being acted on by an inertial force. The ball isn't an inertial force.
So the ball,
there is an inertial
the ball
pushing up.
Is the ball pushing through the medium or not?
No. A force is pushing the ball through the medium. The ball isn't pushing through
the ball pushing through the medium or not? It's creating a pressure. It's got a pressure. It's got a pressure through the medium.
That ball isn't creating the pressure. The centrifugal force acting on the ball is creating that pressure.
And where did the centrifugal force come from, Craig?
The fact that it's a rotating object.
No, we're talking about a ball falling in mid-air now. Inertial force.
I know. Yeah. So what is the inertial force acting on the ball? What is the inertial force acting on the ball in the case of it standing still?
Okay.
The inertial force is centrifugal. So when it's standing still, what inertial force is acting on that ball but is replacing the centrifugal force from when it is spinning?
Listen, when you pick up a ball, it hasn't got centrifugal force, okay? Because it's not spinning.
Never said it has, Mr. Man.
It has an inertial force when you let it go. I picked it up. Okay,
no, it doesn't.
Forced
have an inertial force to let it go. That's not what an inertial force is.
Take a listen. I forced it out of its equilibrium. I forced it out of its equilibrium. I put energy into the system. As soon as I let it go, it has a fictitious force as it forces itself through the medium to seek equilibrium.
What is that?
To seek equilibrium. To seek equilibrium, and therefore
you have just debunked yourself here.
How did I do that?
Right? Because the fictitious force isn't the ball, right? The fictitious force, even if I was spinning, right? Even if it was spinning and I was the one to hold the ball and let it go into that spinning apparatus, it's nothing to do with me anymore. It's simply the centrifugal force that will push the ball towards the outside. Nothing to do with me. Nothing at all. Right? But the same thing, if I let go of the ball in the air, there is now an inertial force acting on that ball. I'm not the inertial force. The ball isn't the inertial force. There is a force being applied to that ball constantly. Just like a centrifugal force will be applied constantly, there has to be a force applied to the ball constantly to make it accelerate down.
Great.
The ball isn't. The ball is not an inertial force. You are not. Applying that force over time, something else is.
So by your own admission then, relative density disequilibrium has a force attributed to it, which gives it an inertial force.
No, it has to have a force. No, I'm saying it has to have a force to make it happen.
Yeah, which you just literally explained it does. Thank you.
Yeah, so centrifugal force, which is sideways. So the replacement for centrifugal force when it's not sideways would actually be gravity. That is the inertial
gravity.
force.
Gravity.
Well, there is gravity.
No.
And I can prove gravity very easily.
Okay, we're talking now about relative density equilibrium, not gravity, which is anyway not a force, but that's the next discussion.
Creates a force. Right, stop strawmanning me by saying gravity isn't a force, because I don't say gravity is a force, I say gravity creates a force.
What's gravity?
Okay.
But no, we're going to get to that with the next chat. We're on the relative density. Anyway, I can't go on much longer. It's already 11 o'clock.
That's cool. I'm supposed to be talking to Barbara Sanchez at some point. What is
awesome.
this? Ads will run. Why are ads running automatically?
Oh, you probably have it set up, and if you have a when you set up a stream, sometimes there's a box that you click, and then they set up the ads to run automatically during the stream. It sucks. I set mine off. Yeah, I set mine off.
Oh, I don't want people. Why would you want ads on a bloody live stream?
You get people that do that.
Guys, if you've seen an ad during this live stream, I thoroughly apologize. Obviously, if you're rewatching it, there will be ads. But if you're live, I don't want ads on a live stream. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it's just when you set it up, there's a block at the bottom. When you say monetization, there's a block at the bottom that says, do you want middle ads? Then they stick it on. So just make sure it's deselected though.
Right. So I would love to continue this conversation because we're kind of getting to where I wanted to get with. I think we've got to the point that I wanted, but if you need to finish for now, that's fine, and we can continue on next week. I'm more than happy to have these conversations to just you and I, because I know you weren't too happy with people coming on. I'm more than happy to speak to your guys if you ever want them to come on the chat as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, if you're happy to finish for tonight, we will continue this gravity conversation next week, because I actually have let's actually talk about gravity next week, because I have some extremely good evidence for gravity that I would like to get your opinion on. Okay?
Yeah. Great.
Right. I appreciate being cordial. I think you're a fucking idiot, but hey, that's just how it is. You think the same about me. I appreciate that we can have these conversations. You are better than Nathan Oakley by 1,000,000%. And I know people were a bit shocked with me saying, "Oh, you support Flatzoid," but I don't mean that my guy should support Flatzoid. I don't like what he does. I think Flat Earth is fucking stupid and it's a grift. But he's got people that watch him, so they should support him. And that's my point.
I hope there's people watching me.
There's a couple at least. Maybe your mum's watching. I don't know.
But
All right, well,
but thanks again.
No worries. Well, can I quickly just check to see if there's any
Questions?
super chats?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I remember my first ritual.
If you guys have any questions for Craig, let me know and I can quickly give it to him.
David Lee says for $2, you keep saying support it, but support it against what?
The medium.
Yeah, well, I think he means like, what is the thing? The medium's supporting it, but why is it having to support it? Which I think was my point with the centrifugal force.
Why is it having to support it? Because it's floating in the medium.
Okay.
Part of fluid dynamics.
James Hogarth for £5 says, why does adding energy by moving it not matter in a zero gravity environment?
Sorry, say it again.
Why does adding energy by moving it not matter in a zero gravity environment?
First of all, there's no such thing as gravity, so you can't have a zero gravity environment, but you can have a zero net accelerative environment.
Okay. Potential just checking that there's no more questions for you. No, I think that's all of them.
I got one for you though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Does Craig know the difference between kinetic and potential energy?
Yes. This now has potential energy. I let it go. It had kinetic energy as it moved.
Cool. And which direction?
Well, in that particular direction, whichever way the force was making it go, which was down.
Cool. Yeah, that's all the questions I think from my side, though.
Well, thank you very much, Keith. I will speak to you again next week,
awesome.
And I'll speak to Dave as well about exactly what I want to talk about. That could be interesting.
Yeah, I think it'll be great to have a conversation with Dave.
Speak soon. Bye.
Cheers. Have a good evening, mate. Bye. Okay. That is over. Don't save. Ooh, hey PJ. What's up, man? Did you watch that? I've already changed it. Okay. Let me flow through space for 2 minutes. 70 watching. Wow. Awesome. Thank you all for coming. Really appreciate it. Please do hit that like button and share. Really appreciate it. I mean, wow. The guy throwing away all known physics.
Wait, it was a straw man from start to finish, lads.
Yeah, and he kept throwing.
He said he didn't want to straw man you. He wanted to steel man you, right? But it was a straw man from start to finish. So I think that's why he got that in at the start. Look, I'm going to straw man you all the way through. You know what I mean? But pretend I'm not straw manning you and try and come over to my side of the fence to deal with this kind of crap. You know what I mean?
But I mean, he threw away all known physics tonight without even realizing it. I must say, Global Mom, it's good to have you in. Thank you for coming. She's a big FTFE supporter, so it's weird to see her in this chat.
Nice.
But yeah, we got 98 votes. Guavity needs carrots to be real. 62% say yes, and no 38%.
Was that my ones? Yeah.
But yeah, it's very simple, guys, if you try and understand the physics behind it. It's at an equilibrium point. So if you're picking it up, it's going out of equilibrium. It's where's the foundation on everything in reality? We observe reality to have foundations at the bottom. You build a foundation of a building at the bottom. A tree's roots is at the bottom. Everything's foundations is based on the bottom. That is how it works. So, I mean, that's observed reality.
It's like you said, where did you pick it from? Where did you pick the feather up from? You picked it from the ground. So when you let it go, where did it go back to? It went back to the ground. Yeah,
because I wouldn't understand why, if you picked something up, he would expect it to now have more energy to carry on going up. That's why I asked him, do you know what potential energy is? Because it's got to do with the distance away from its equilibrium point. So
I mean, even my mate, well, Harry, it's more Harry's mate, Castaway Adventures UK. He's a glober. He believes in the globe, and he was in here saying, "Craig, even I learned this in primary school." You know what I mean? And he's a glober.
Yeah. But it's, I mean, if we did get it to the gravity tonight, which we're going to next time, he's going to explain to me why the globe is accelerating upwards constantly in all directions.
I should correct myself. He's not a glober. He's a normie. He's a normie, but he believes in the globe. Yeah, he believes in the globe.
Yeah. I saw Dal in the chat earlier. Hey, Dal, thank you for coming, mate. If you want to chat sometime, let me know. Because I do disagree with his accelerating up Earth. And I'm sure he disagrees with my disequilibrium. But I'm not going to be rude to him like he was to me the other day when I was on his stream. But yeah, Dal, if you want to talk about it, I'm all for it, mate. Just let me know. We can set up a time. Because it'd be nice to talk to you, mate. I got nothing against you, Dal. I just don't agree with that accelerating upwards nonsense. And there's a reason for it. Unfortunately, we couldn't even get to that tonight because it was just about relative density disequilibrium. And I couldn't get him to understand things support things.
It usually is with Craig. When you get into debate with Craig, it's hard to get off the starting block.
Well, I have to go.
Cool.
Gonna care with the woman a bit. Because, I mean,
Absolutely.
It's the only time we do get to visit a bit. It's like at this time of night.
That's it. You've got tomorrow night off.
Yeah, tomorrow's her birthday, so I'm definitely not going to be streaming tomorrow, guys. But yeah, thanks everybody for coming. Really appreciate everything. Appreciate you guys. Super chats, that likes and thanks, and just sharing the show really, really does help. And I appreciate everything you guys say. But yeah, me and Craig definitely have a lot of disagreements. Like he says, he says I'm a moron. I think he's a moron. But at least we can agree on one thing. At least we enjoy talking to each other, even though it's quite frustrating. But I mean, that's all part of the game. Like I said, behind closed doors, he's actually a very nice guy. But it's just how it is. I'm definitely not going to change my mind anytime soon. Ever, actually.
Yeah.
Especially if that's the kind of arguments we get from the globe. But yeah, thanks all for coming. You guys rock. PJ, any closing statements?
Ooh, you just disappeared.
Do you have any closing statements?
All right, so right. Sorry, I just thought everything just turned off then. Not really. What can I say? It's just the usual, isn't it? It's hard to get off the starting block with Craig. It's always it always gets stuck at gravity, doesn't it? Even if the debate's not on gravity, it always gets stuck on gravity, doesn't it? I think it's always got to be the same with him. But someone said in the chat earlier that he's got to be a flat earther. Look, I think it was Gleam. Gleam said it. He's got to be a flat earther, Craig has, because look how he messes up the globe. You know what I mean? So maybe he'll be over our side soon enough, I think.
Yeah.
That's my closing statement.
Awesome.
We welcome you, Craig, man. We welcome you.
Yeah, definitely. well, he is a member on my show, so he's getting there. He's at the starting point.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, thanks everybody for coming. Really appreciate you all. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. It was awesome to have this thing, and I mean, if we do this once a week or every 2 weeks or something, just have this chat. I think it will be something to enjoy. It's content for everybody from both sides, and I think it's a good thing to bring the two sides together, but just for conversation kind of thing. So yeah, till Wednesday. Cheers everybody, many blessings, and may the pressure be with you. Cheers.